Good evening, guys. James popped down from Courtney today. Hey?
Yeah, we're gonna do some fishing tomorrow.
Do some fishing on the lake. We're gonna do some lake fishing for some cutthroat trout, maybe possibly some rainbows. We'll see what we can find. But you had some extra fish in the freezer from the summer's catch this last summer in 2024.
Yeah, I've never canned salmon before. Tyler, as you know, if you've watched some of our shows, has this special canned salmon that he serves on the boat each time we're out.
A little bit of mayonnaise, a little bit of Dijon, and some awesome sweet relish.
All right,
Sam,
let's give it a go. Thanks, Tyler. Looks pretty delicious. I'm sure it's gonna be good.
down the hatch.
And it is. Yeah, amazing.
Almost like a little sushi. Like a little sweet sushi.
So I figured, hey, I'm gonna rack his brain and find out how he does it.
Yeah, and this is a really good recipe for all of you out there that are catching fish throughout the summer. Maybe you're vac packing it and you're kind of at that 6-month mark where you're like, oh man, the new fishing season's coming up and I still got fish in the freezer. The last thing we want to see is you guys putting fish to waste. So canning your fish is a really great way of taking care of that sort of 6-month-old fish that's been in the freezer, because it'll last in the can for up to another 2 years. I've kind of laid out here everything that you're gonna need in order to can, so I just wanted to get started with that right away. And what I'm gonna do is drop a link down below in the description for everything that you can find here. They are affiliate links and we will earn a small commission from any purchases that you make, but they really help out the Guides Guide channel to help us, get fuel for the boats, hire cameramen and things like that. So it'd be really great if you would support that down below, but let's get right into it. Number one, you're gonna need a canner. Something good. This is an all-American canner, a 941. They come in various different shapes and sizes, bigger, smaller. This one will hold 21 half-pint jars from Bernardin. You can also get them in a Presto brand. Those are also a really good brand, but I highly recommend the all-American canner. It's probably been my favorite canner that I've ever owned. And it's a solid choice.
And you can buy them pretty much anywhere. You said recently they were even on sale at Costco.
They were on sale at Costco recently, yeah. And I think those were they were one size up from this actually. So I think you could get away with almost doing 27 half-pint jars. Yeah. The next thing you're gonna need is just sort of one of these jar pickers for at the end of the canning process. You obviously don't want to be grabbing a hot jar, so you want one of these. Preferably one that's silicone lined just to prevent any cracking of the jar. And then you're gonna want some of these trays. I've just got one out here, but I've got a bunch left in the canner. You want one on the bottom of the canner as well as on every layer of cans that you're gonna do so that we can get 21 jars in there. Next thing is just some really basic white vinegar, super easy. And then I always recommend a high quality sea salt, whether it's a Celtic sea salt, Vancouver Island hand harvested, something like that. You do not want to use iodized salt, and you don't want to use Himalayan sea salt. I've done it before and it will ruin the taste of your fish because of all the minerals and stuff that's in there. You really want to cook fish in sea salt.
And these are, I picked them up yesterday at Canadian Tire,
Yeah.
250 mil wide mouth, right?
Wide mouth, yes.
They're about 20 bucks for 12 of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Little trick here, get a dish rag, get it semi-wet, and just wipe down your counter. And then grab some saran wrap and just line your counter with the saran wrap.
Okay, this is cool. Who taught you this?
This is just something I came up with, to be honest with you. I've had a couple people in the family that have been allergic to shellfish and things like that. So to help me keep shellfish and fish smell out of the house, this is kind of how I process fish. One of the things that I like to do when canning my fish is I like to sterilize my jars. I put my jars in the dishwasher to wash them, and dishwashers are notoriously bad for leaving soap residue and stuff like that on the jars, which can actually prevent your jars from sealing properly during the canning process. So I stick a towel into boiling hot water, and then what I'll do is I'll stick 4 or 5 jars in there for 10 minutes to sterilize them, and I throw in about a 1/4 cup of white vinegar in there, and the white vinegar just helps to break down some of that soap scum and grime that might have been left over from the dishwasher on your cans. All these jars have been sterilized and done because it takes about 10 minutes for every 4 jars, so we got 21 cans here, so you can imagine that took around 50 minutes to get all those sterilized. This episode is brought to you by West Coast Fishing Tackle, the quality anglers deserve. Parksville Boathouse, your full-service boat dealer and chandlery. Gone Fishing, serving Vancouver Island and beyond for over 30 years.
Okay, so this is salmon. This is marbled salmon. This is stuff that we picked up in Vancouver the other day, but there's a mixture here. It's all Chinook salmon. I like to can the Chinook salmon, and Tyler said this is best because it's got a good fat content in it. I'm going to take the skin off to start off with. There are still some pin bones left in here. As this is going to be canned, Tyler said that they don't make much of a difference. You could pull them out. Easiest way to pull pin bones out is to do it after the skin has been removed. And I'm just going to come down the edge of the skin here, nice and easy, just running at a slight angle. There's your fillet there. Another little trick, if you want to learn how to do this, is to bring your piece of salmon with the skin on it right up against the edge. The closer you can get your knife down there, if you can see how close I'm coming into the skin now, the better. And I'm using, because there's a handle on this and there's a space, this allows me to come in really, really close. And I'm just slowly moving the knife back and forth. Cut it about that thickness there, and about that thickness there. And those are perfect to fit in our jars.
There are two sort of rings on this jar. You sort of have the top lip here, and then you've got this secondary ring right at the bottom. You do not want your fish to pass this bottom ring. You need that ½ inch of space at the top of your jar for the expansion and the canning process to actually take place and for your lids to seal properly. So what we're gonna do is just find a nice piece of fish here like this, fold it inside around the back, and then we'll just start adding salmon in here and filling it up. We wanna have as little air gaps as possible right up until this point. Take a nice piece of red. Take a piece like this. I'm gonna throw it in like that. Take another piece right dead center like that. So you can see here there's still a little bit of air gap there. We're gonna make sure that we cut a nice little piece just like this and like this. And we're gonna stick that just right down in there to make sure that that little sort of air gap is all taken out. So I'm gonna let James take over from here because this is all his fish. And canning is kind of a muscle memory thing. The more you do it, the more times you practice, you're gonna get really quick at it and it's not gonna take so long. So James, it's your turn. Those really thin pieces that we had that came off of the skin, this is a really great way of sort of stuffing the rest of that jar.
Oh, cool, right, so it fills up those gaps.
So it fills up those gaps. And what I like to do is scrape the spine of my carcass. That's why when I fish, I always leave my fish whole head on, just gutted and gilled. I get it home, I fillet it, and then I've got all that meat along the spine bone that I just take a spoon to and I fill up a bowl. It also helps you fill up your jars when you have little gaps and you just need tiny little pieces of salmon to kind of get in those little spots.
Yeah, it's great for salmon cakes, salmon burgers, and salmon ceviche.
Oh, super good.
Love
Definitely.
it. Yeah.
James cut up all this fish, got the cans all filled up, and the next thing we got to do is add our vinegar and our salt. So what we're going to do is a ½ teaspoon of vinegar and just under ¼ teaspoon of salt. Anywhere between 1/8 teaspoon and just under ¼ teaspoon seems to be about perfect for me. The reason why we're using the vinegar, like we explained before, is that it helps to break down any of the bones that you might have left in your fish, because you can absolutely cut through the spine, create steaks and put your sort of steaks in these cans, and the vinegar is gonna break down those spine bones into absolute mush. You'll never even know they're there once the canning process is finished. So let's get right to it. And then I always do my salt first. If you want to flatten it right out, that's about ¼ teaspoon right there. So I usually just do a little bit less than that, something about there.
this guy up here too.
Perfect.
Nice.
Okay, so we've got our salt down, and now we're gonna go with a full half teaspoon of vinegar. 1, 2. See, the reason why I did the salt first is because I can see now which ones have had vinegar.
That's a
and
good
I
idea.
don't accidentally double vinegar.
That's smart. So yeah, you see dissolving
jar.
the salt, you know you've hit those guys with vinegar.
Exactly. So just making sure that the tops of these jars are nice and clean and free of any fish oil that's going to prevent the lids from sealing to the jar properly. And then we're boiling our lids to make sure that they're sterile. Okay. So lids go on like this. Awesome. Now we'll grab some rings and get these nice and tight. And I just kind of go back and forth 1, 2, and I give it a real good snug.
Can you be too tight on these, Tyler?
Oh yes.
You can, hey?
Yeah, if you go too tight, they won't seal properly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And is that sort of really tight?
Yeah, if you go too tight, then you kind of damage the seal is what happens.
Okay. I think that's it, buddy.
Perfect. Off to the canner we go. We're going to take one of these trays here and put it on the bottom of the canner to make sure that our jars are elevated off the bottom of the actual canning surface. And then we're going to go ahead and fill up the water to about this line right here, which is about 3/4 of the way up the jar. You'll see that here when we start putting our first layer of jars in. I got some hot water and start filling up this canner anyway. So we'll probably need a little bit more of this, but I just want to get the canner heating up, so I just want to start the heating up process of this water. So our water in our canner is already slightly boiling. That's fine. You can do it either boiling or not boiling. It's not going to make a difference. But we're going to go ahead and throw our first. We have 18 cans total, so we'll do 6 on each level, and that'll get us our 18 cans. Make sure they're not touching. We want to add a little more water in there. We want it to be about 3/4 of the way up that can.
Before you put your second tray in?
Yep.
Okay.
So now we know we're good. Put our tray in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Grab another tray. Throw it on there.
So that's it for water, Tyler. You're 3/4 of the way up those first jars, and that's all you need.
And that's all you need. These jars are not going to move around within the canner. We've got our lid here. For these All-American canners, there's a little arrow portion here and a little arrow here. You want to make sure that these are exactly connected like such, because this is actually one piece of cast aluminum that it was machined from. Flip up our turnbuckles. I like to tighten them down just slightly. And then I lean down to make sure that my lid is squared up. So you want to make sure that this sort of line right here is even around the whole canner. Like that. Go around this side, make sure I'm even here. And I'm nice and even here. And just like that. And then we can give these a really good snug down. Then you've got your pressure relief here. We're going to go to 10 pounds per square inch. Heat on high. You can see we're going to go all the way up to 10 pounds, 10 psi. Once we get to 10 psi, we're going to modulate the oven down to probably about 4. And that's going to hold at 10 psi for the full 90 minutes. This episode is brought to you by Gone Fishing, serving Vancouver Island and beyond for over 30 years. West Coast fishing tackle, the quality anglers deserve. Parksville Boathouse, your full-service boat dealer and chandlery. What you're starting to hear here is the fact that we're getting very close to 10 pounds per square inch. And this little pedcock is going to start to kind of spit and sputter a little bit, and that's what you want. Once it starts to really do its thing, we're going to start to modulate the oven down just to hold that 10 psi. But because I've used this system a lot, I know that we're going to stay on high for probably another 30 seconds to a minute while this thing really starts to spit. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. 10? Yep. I'm going to turn on the oven to 90 minutes. So yeah, you're going to start to see this thing kick a little bit here.
This is the Tyler Van Keeken Flex Capacitator Modulator.
So this is it really starting to kick now. When it starts to wobble and kick like that, you know you're at your 10 PSI. We can start to modulate the oven down just slightly. I want to hear that kick at least 3 times a minute, so I know that my canner is at the proper temperature.
On cue.
So once it starts to really kick often, and it just constantly is kicking, trying to release pressure to stay at 10, that's when we'll modulate it down. We've basically been able to modulate the oven down to just above a 4, which is like a medium. And we're still getting that release. Every 30 seconds, every 20 seconds, we're getting that release. But you do not want to leave this alone. You want to make sure that you're always able to hear it and to understand where your canner is at. Always read your manufacturer's recommended specifications for heat. They come with a little recipe book for canning with different size jars, canning meats, vegetables, fruits, fish, all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, this is my favorite way of processing fish, man. Having canned salmon all throughout the year, this is a winner for me. Timer's done. Turn that off. We're going to turn the stove off. And we're just going to let this naturally come down to 0 PSI. Do not take this off. Do not try and undo anything. It will burn you. It will pop. This is under 10 pounds per square inch of pressure right now. So we're going to let this naturally release all the way down to 0. And then we'll pull the cans out and show you the process of the lids actually sealing down to the jars. Well,
The wait is over.
the wait is over, hey? Our pressure has fully dropped down to 0. I still recommend take off your pedcock, let any other remaining pressure release. If it's not quite at 0, maybe you got a ½ pound of PSI in there, but as you heard, there was nothing there.
And this has come down to absolute 0. Double check, make sure that's on 0.
Yeah, 100%. And we just undo them like you would the lug nuts of a car, opposite to each other, like that.
Lefty loosey, righty tighty.
And like that. Slide this off. Like that. Nice and steamy. Always steam it off to your buddy.
I'm gonna bring that camera over to show you.
Here we go.
You can see that salmon is still kind of boiling in there, hey?
Oh, yeah.
It's really, really hot.
Absolutely. That's why we've got the little silicone grabber there that's gonna, I can't remember what those things are officially called, but if you want to grab the first can, so basically what you do is you grab it just below the ring. Always put them down onto a rag or a dish towel or something.
Not directly onto the countertop.
Not directly
right?
onto the countertop, especially when you have something like quartz or marble countertops. They can be very cold, and you know, that cold surface probably isn't going to crack your jars, but you don't really want to find out either. Beauty. So what do you think of your first canning experience?
I think this was really neat. Again, I've eaten canned salmon like this for a long, long time, and I've never been able to do it myself. I didn't have the right sort of, I guess, canning knowledge or the right equipment, and this has been really educational for me, man. Fantastic.
Awesome.
Now, I'm hearing some of these pop.
Yeah,
as
so
I bring them out.
Yeah, so that's them actually sealing. Once they cool down to a certain temperature, they will actually seal on their own.
And you'll hear that pop.
And you hear that pop going off.
There you go. There's a couple of them doing it now.
You got one more jar left?
Yep.
Perfect. I'm going to sneak around you here.
Nice, man. There we go.
So yeah, you'll start to hear and see these kind of pop down. You want to let these sit on the counter for 24 hours before you move them anymore. Basically out of the canner, onto the towel, let them cool down and fully cool down for about 24 hours. And that's how you can salmon. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Guide's Guide. Again, we're going to drop all the links for everything you need down below for all of your canning needs. It really helps out the channel as they are affiliate links, so we earn a very small commission from some of those purchases, which we put back into the Guide's Guide. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed yourself, James, and hopefully you get a canner yourself.
Thanks, Tyler. That was great. Appreciate it, buddy.
Awesome.